Back on the Sports Zone, I am Mike Aglialoro. First round of the 2014 NFL Draft has just ended, so we're going to bring you the highlights. There were 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round after all. The big surprise early on was Blake Bortles going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, skipping over Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater. But John Gruden said it the best. It really is all in the eye of the beholder at this position. Obviously, Gus Bradley and David Caldwell saw something in Bortles, so they went with him first. Cleveland Browns were all over the place. They traded the 4th pick in the draft, Sammy Watkins, to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for the 9th pick in the draft and a 1st and 4th round draft pick in next year's draft. And then they traded that 9th pick for the 8th round pick along with the 5th round pick, moving up 1 spot for Justin Gilbert, the cornerback. So they upgraded their secondary a little bit. They passed on getting a wide receiver to go with whichever quarterback they decided to go with. And I say that because with their 26th pick, they actually traded that up along with a 3rd round draft pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for the 22nd pick, where they took Johnny Manziel after a very long wait in the green room. The last quarterback taken was the Minnesota Vikings. Now, like I said, they traded down 1 pick with the Cleveland Browns to pick up a 5th round pick. They took Anthony Barr, the outside linebacker, with that number 9 pick, surprising a lot of people, passing on the quarterback. And then with the last pick in the first round, the Seattle Seahawks traded that pick to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 2nd and 4th round pick in this year's draft, where the Vikings took their quarterback of the future in Teddy Bridgewater. So the Vikings help their defense, and they get the quarterback they need in the future, and they still have an early pick in the 2nd round. So right now you have to like what they're doing a lot if you're a Viking fan, which Jay Rovsky is, and I know he was very happy with the Teddy Bridgewater pick. The only other highlights I'm really going to talk about, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, who thankfully passed on Johnny Manziel when he was available at 16, with Barr and Aaron Donald, the defensive tackle, being off the board. Donald going to the St. Louis Rams at number 13, who have a stacked defensive line, adding him to Michael Brockers, Robert Quinn, and Chris Long. So if they ever get their offense together, they're going to be dangerous. But anyway, with all those players off the board, Cowboys chose to make the safe pick and upgrade their offensive line. They took Zach Martin out of Notre Dame to go with Tyron Smith and Travis Fredericks, the center they took last season, and they still have Doug Free. Either Free or Martin is going to wind up moving to guard with the other playing tackle. So I love what they did with that pick. Like I said, it's the safe pick. They could have gone with a safety there, but they chose to protect Tony Romo. I'm okay with that. The New York Giants filled the void left by Hakeem Nicks, going with Odell Beckham Jr., the highly touted wide receiver. He was thought to be a top 10 pick at one point. Giants get him to pair with Victor Cruz, and the Jets wind up passing on a wide receiver. I know Jake Dixon thought they could have gone with Brandon Cooks, who wound up going to the New Orleans Saints, who traded up with the Arizona Cardinals to get him. Like I said, the Jets wound up passing on him to go with Calvin Pryor, the safety, who is the top-rated safety on the board. And you know the hits that the Jets sustained on that secondary, missing out on every major cornerback and losing Antonio Cromartie. So they needed something on that secondary. They obviously highly value D. Milner, so pairing him with Calvin Pryor on that secondary, they hope will be an upgrade. They still have to get another weapon or two on that offense to go with the imports Eric Decker and Chris Johnson. So that's basically all the major news out of the first round of the draft. 5 trades in all. Houston still needs to address its quarterback situation. You have to wonder if they take another Carr. Derek Carr is still on the board. And again, you know, Houston failed miserably with his brother David, but they're a much better organization than they were when Derek was taken way back when. So you really have to wonder if they roll the dice with his brother this time around. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at We Are Sports Zone. Send us any questions and comments you may have. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check us out this weekend. We're going to be back with full draft coverage, not just myself, but Jake Dixon. And we will see you next time. I am Mike Aglialoro. Thanks again, folks.